everybody, people heard a little bit, but, and then we came back the next year and kept telling everybody the same advice and other things. And, as we know, social media really exploded, I guess, in the past 3 years here. But Curt is a real pioneer. I think you've been with the company, 27 years? You were 29 years. So 29 years. And I don't want to take up your time, and I want to be respectful of your time because it's 9:30 out there. But maybe you could tell everybody a little bit about you're 100 plus member. Many members of your family are part of this team. Huge. One of the, if you look at the company, there are really about 7 major lines, and Curt, the Beavers line is one of the major lines within the company. He's one of the top leaderships position, the top leaders with this company. So we're very honored to have him on the line, and I'm very honored to have him as a friend, even though he went to Georgia Tech. So anyway, Curt, I'm going to pass it on over to you to just share a little.
Great. Lauren, thanks. I'm sorry I was late tonight, but that's just the way it is sometimes. But yeah, technology has been amazing for me, and I have been with the company for a long time. Just to tell you my story really quick, we got started so my wife could stay at home and be with our kids. We didn't have any kids yet, but we were kind of thinking ahead, and she wanted to make $1,000 a month, real small goal, and we did that actually our first month. We got 38 customers, and of those 38, 13 looked at the business with us, and we got 5 in the business with us, and we at that point really learned how the business works. We kind of took off with blind faith and turn my phone off here. Took off with blind faith and began to recruit after we found out how the business worked. The person that brought us in the business didn't understand the business. I don't know if any of you all have a sponsor that's wonderful, loving, caring, and awesome, but maybe they're on the same learning curve as you were with the business, and that's kind of where we were. And 30 days into the business, her upline, somebody above her, said, "Hey, you're really on track. Are you sure you just want to make $1,000 a month and get a few customers? If you would find 5 people to join your team, you could be a national marketing director." Didn't know what that was, didn't have a clue. Found out and said, "Yes, we're in." And 8 months later, we were national marketing directors. And 6 months later, I made national marketing director because my wife signed me up under her. And then now we have 600 Club national marketing directors in our family. And we've been able to help 200 people make national marketing directors. So it's been an amazing, amazing journey. And really can't believe where we are today. I mean, it's, the money is enormous, but way, way, way beyond the money is the time, freedom, and the opportunity to do the things that we feel like we're called to do. I just wrote a book, and I was able to share what I'm passionate about. This business has really given me what I consider a tool to help people. There's so many people out there, a lot of people that I know, get up and go to work every day, and they make a great living, and they've built a lifestyle around that living, and the lifestyle grows, and they got to make more money. Lifestyle grows, they got to make more money. And in many cases, they're not doing what they feel like they were called to do. I mean, when I was 13, I remember someone stepping in kind of as a surrogate father to me. And he said, you need a life purpose. And I said, what does that mean? At 13, that kind of blew right over my head. And he said, you need to figure out what you're wired to do, and you need to figure out your passion, and you need to be able to pursue it, because you're not going to be happy just making money. You're going to have a great career, but you need to figure out something that allows you to pursue that passion. And I think that's what this business has done for so many, is that the business was not the end game. The end game was something the life you wanted to make, what you were called to do, who you wanted to be. And this business becomes that platform from which you can do that calling. I mean, I know I've got someone who's a horse nut. She loves horses, but she was trapped. In her words, she was trapped in a dental office all of her life as a dental hygienist, making good money to pay her bills, but she never got to go see her horses. She worked so many hours. She had a horse. It was 30 minutes away, but she never got to enjoy that. And really her dream when she made national marketing director was the time she got to spend with her horses, because she loved it. And that's really, Lauren, that's what I think everybody deserves the right to do. And that is to build a business that allows you to pursue your passion to its fullest. And that's why this business is so contagious. The product's phenomenal. The business is phenomenal. But what's really amazing is that we can take this business and this product and be the plus in somebody's life, change their health, change their wealth, but let them really be the person that they're wired, designed, and created to be. So that's what gets me excited and pumped up. But Lauren, really, do you want to ask me any specific?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, Curt, what do you think really stops people? I mean, there are so many amazing, I know for you that, and for all of us on the line, that it's that, what do you think makes the difference? Because there are people on the line who have been in this business since, for 7 years, and there are people in this, right now who are looking at the business. But what do you think is the thing that really makes the biggest difference? I mean, to have so many people, over 200 national marketing directors. I mean, we have a lot of great momentum here, and very proud of so many people. We have people popping up every day. But then there are some people that I think they're just stuck. And what would you say to those people that are just kind of stuck right now in the business, the stuck where they're at?
Well, there's one thing I think that most, even in our business and outside our business, that distinguishes the successful from the not successful, and it's how we manage our time. I think, it's really the resource that everybody in this world is given the same amount of. And I know that's a cop-out for me, but I really believe that when you get in a business like this, you have to learn how to manage yourself. You don't have a boss. And those that get in this business and, get up and understand that this business is wonderful, but it doesn't just happen. It takes intention. And for, I like to see people learn how to manage their month. And then just let me explain that a minute. And that is, on the 10th of each month, you get paid. But you're going to get paid based on what you did the previous month. And if you don't start that month out with a plan and start well, and then work that month till it's completed, and so you finish strong. But what that really means is that you set some goals, and even if you're taking baby steps and you want to become a national marketing director, and maybe that's like an elephant, every single month you're taking bites out of that elephant. And I think some people can do this business they'll be hot and cold and hot and cold, and it takes consistency. I wake up every day, not I'm going to go get 5 customers today, or I'm going to go get a customer. I've got to get 1 customer, make 3 phone calls. No, what I do in this business is a part of me. So I go out and do life and take Juice Plus with me, but I have goals for them. So even though I'm not deciding I'm going to get so many customers a day or do so many things a day, everywhere I am, everywhere I go, I take Juice Plus with me. But I've started the month with a plan and with intentions to achieve by the end of the month. And one of the ways I do that is I get on I look at where I'm at when the month starts. We've got great data, PVC reports and downline growth reports. So you can assess where you are, and you can celebrate the good things you did last month. And you want to keep doing those, getting so many customers, growing your PVC, doing a new HLP, whatever those things are you did well. I did 5 Zoom calls. I modeled one simple change. The 4 core principles, I model those in my life for others to see. Those are good things you can repeat. But then there's some things that didn't go so well last month. Goals you fell short on. Things you wanted to do you didn't get done. Obstacles that got in your way. You want to stop those things, get around those things, remove those obstacles. And then the third thing you want to think out at the beginning of the month is, based on what went well and what went wrong, what do I need to do different this month to make it better? If you can ask yourself those 3 questions with your data, and I would suggest with some accountability, with a partner, with someone that understands this business that you can run with, and then you take the key people on your team and you work with them and answer those 3 questions. And what do you want to do this month? And then the one thing you need to do as a leader and as a successful person is when you get close to the end of the month and you get that PVC report on the 25th or 26th when you wake up, you've got a week left in the month and you decide, okay, here's what I wanted to accomplish this month. I've got a short fuse left, but the month's not over, and I'm going to take all out massive action and I'm going to get it done. So the successful people in this business, what I see is that they take each month, they finish it strong because they know that what they do this month drives their paycheck the next month. And they do that consistently month in and month out. So they manage their self, and a big part of that's managing your time. And in our business, there's nothing more important to manage than to manage your month.
Yep. I agree. I told you know, like we always say, you know, you are your calendar, right? Yep. That's your life. You are your calendar. I mean, that's what shows exactly what you're doing. And like you said, it's not so much about like how many customers, how many distributors, it's just living your life. And you are Juice Plus. There is no separation. That is, you know, that you ooze it, if you would. What about those people? You know, I think that for a lot of people to hear, wow, you know, 600 club members or, you know, 200 NMDs, it just seems absolutely impossible for them to envision that, or, you know, to paint that vision for themselves when they're getting started with regards to things. What would you say to people to really paint that vision? I mean, I was just talking to somebody today. I was online with this person, and, you know, it was all about, you know, the things that aren't working, or, you know, the things that kind of get in the way, how life gets in the way of things. Those things are always going to come up, right? I mean, you've been through the good, the bad, and the ugly with this company. What's kept you going to see that vision of possibly, you know, of 200 NMDs, of 600 club members? What's kept that vision going for you?
Well, I mean, you know, I think when you love what you do, you keep on doing it. So, yeah, you know, I think that, you know, more money is always a great goal. Everybody wants to make more, whether you have needs or whether you know, you want to do the things you want to be able to do with more money. So more money drives you, but at some point in time, you don't necessarily need more money. I think the ability to have more influence drives me. You know, one of the things that I love to be able to do is to sit down, especially like with one of these young millennials that are getting into the marketplace. Because what I see is an emerging generation that just gets me excited because they're so unbelievably confident because they've had Google, they've had the internet, they've had instant access to anything since they were born with, you know, the internet already here, which you and I, you know, at some point in time in our life, all of a sudden, wow, we got the internet. Well, they've always had all this information, but so they know they can do anything, but then they go to school, get a degree, and they really want to go out and make a difference in the world. Yep. And all of a sudden they get a cubicle, a computer, and a commute, and they don't feel like that's what they signed up for. So you've got this generation of new leaders that are looking for something more than a job. And when I can sit down and talk to them and see what their why is, you know, like Lori and I, when we first got started, we wanted to build a business that would allow her to stay at home. When I can sit down with somebody and I know I have an answer, that if they'll just sit down with me and I give them a little combination to this business, I tell them that, you know, there's just like you unlock that locker on your locker at school. You got the right, left, right. You spin the dial. There's 3 numbers that are totally your key to success in this business. And I have to have their attention and let them see that I can fulfill that why if they'll sit down and listen to me. And you've got Juice Plus and this Juice Plus company, and I need them to give me 3 things. I need $50, so the combination is 50. I need 100 names, so you turn it back to left 100, and I need 24 months because we've got a 24-month fast track to national marketing director. And if I can sit down with one of these young, amazing people that wants to make a difference, that doesn't want a 9-to-5, and they'll give me that $50 for their application fee, 100 names, Facebook friends list, or 100 names on a piece of paper, in 24 months of their time. And then they'll trust me with those relationships that we'll go together and share this great product. and share this business. We'll find a bunch of customers, but we'll find a handful of people that'll join them in this mission. It just gets me excited every day because I know that this business can change their life just like it changed mine. So, changing lives, I guess, in a short answer, is what gets me excited because we didn't just join a business. We didn't just start taking a product. We found something that changed our life, literally.
Yeah. I love that. I know. And then having your kids in the business with you as well, right? Sure. I mean, I love that. I love that locker combination. That's a great thing. So, what for you has been your toughest part of this business? What's been the toughest part for you? The hardest thing that you've experienced in this business?
I think seeing people that I know could do so well at this business, but they won't do it. It's so frustrating to see somebody that you would love to join you and they get excited and they step up and they just don't. And I really learned that there's only one way to overcome that. You can there's two things can happen. You can let that person that's not doing it, that you want to do it so bad, you can let them drag you down while you try and, come on, let's go. You can drag a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And you can let that person sidetrack you when you're waiting on them.
Right.
Or you can just acknowledge that that's a seed you planted that's in bad soil right now. It's the cares of this world, some kind of weeds or something are choking them out. They're in bad soil and you can't change the soil they're in. It doesn't mean they're a bad person, but it means that right now at this time in their life, they're not going to do this business. And you have to move on and plant more seeds to find seeds that land in good soil. And the most frustrating thing for me in this business is seeing people that can be so blessed by this business that don't get it.
Yep.
And I have to move on and hopefully they'll get it later.
I know that. Jeff Roberti, 17 years for me, and like you said, it's that Jim Rohn, listening to that Jim Rohn CD over and over again, right? Like sowing the seeds and playing the birds got them, something got them.
It might take 17 years, but even a Georgia Bulldog can get it.
Oh yeah. So I would love to open up for questions because we try to hold the calls for a half hour. I adore you. I really respect you. You've inspired me. I think a big thing that you always said, you really helped me a lot with my growth because I think that was the biggest lesson you told me. I was like, God, I've got so many great friends and they're so talented and they've got everything that they need. I don't understand why they're not doing it. You're like, Lauren, just keep going. Just keep going. Either they're gonna see it, and I think the biggest thing is being your best distributor. And if I ever look at you, every time I look at you, you're doing the do. You are definitely in the trenches after 29 years. That says a lot about you. To really be in the trenches, always thinking of new ways to connect, always thinking of new ways to make things better for everybody. So really being your best distributor. So I'd love to. We'll take 3 questions. You guys can just unmute yourself and want to be respectful. We have a lot of people on the line, so I'm sure there's tons of questions. Anyone want to ask a question, or do you want to raise your hand, or do you want to just unmute yourself? You're all muted right now. Anyone? Come on, you got one of the best of the best. Anyone? Let's see. Come on. Anybody want to unmute themselves? Is there somebody got their hand up?
Here, I have a question.
Sure. Hello. Hi, Brandy.
Hi. My question would be, I know that you say that you give them, okay, here's your $50 application fee, here's 100 names, and then you get going. What is something that you share for a new customer or a new distributor? Is it like an email? Is it inviting them to an event? What is your favorite way to introduce Juice Plus?
Well, my number one way is 3-way phone calls. I mean, it's still, to me, even with all the tools we have today, it's still the number one tool. If I had to pick one tool and get rid of the rest of them, it would be 3-way phone calls. So, I share the product I introduce Plus. Usually I do that through a lot of the YouTube videos, invite them to share a smoothie. A lot of times I'll go to Starbucks and I'll go meet somebody at Starbucks and I go with 2 smoothies in my hand and we'll drink our smoothie while we also get a cup of coffee. So, sharing a smoothie is a great way to do that. But in terms of me sharing my story and inspiring somebody else, three-way phone call will be my number one tool always.
Yeah, I would agree. And I would like to give Curt, I'd like to order a couple things from you. And I'd like to give Brandy one of your books, the Shotgun book. She's got an amazing son, and I know that would be a great book for her. So I'd love to be able to get that from her and bring it to conference. So could you share a little bit about that book for a second, and what inspired you to write that first book?
Yeah, the first book I wrote is I call Shotgun. Kind of like your kids, they always, I want to ride shotgun. I call Shotgun. They want to sit in the front seat. So Tommy Newberry and I wrote a book. It's 68 principles every parent should teach their children before they leave home. But it teaches you to do it in stolen moments, like riding down the road with them when they call shotgun, sitting in a ball game, on a walk together. It's 68 principles that you should teach your kids before they leave home, but it teaches you how to do it in a 5-minute stolen moment. It's good.
Awesome. Well, she's getting one because she does lots of driving around with her son to lots of swim meets, and just a great example of that, and someone who relives those stolen moments. Dina, I know you have a question over here. Unmute.
Oh, I might have hit it an accident, but thank you, Curt. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep, we hear you.
So I hear you talk a lot about, and I say this wrong, forgive me because my brain is backwards, but make a life, not a living, or forgive me. Yep. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? I'm very intrigued by that catchphrase and how you teach that to your team. If in fact you do that, or do you, tell me a little bit more about that.
It's kind of my door opener for the whole business. And that's the book that I just wrote. That's actually the name of the book, Make a Life, Not Just a Living. And there's a video about it at makealife.com. But anyway, I get burdened by people that do something every day that takes up 60 hours a week, but it doesn't allow them to make the life they desire. So many people, the typical American path is you get a degree, you get a job, you get married, you buy a house, you have a child, you have another child, you buy a bigger house, bigger cars. And so we get into this collection of things, and all of a sudden, in order to keep up those things, we're trading hours for dollars our entire life. And the more things we have, the more hours we trade to get more dollars. And all of a sudden, life becomes about working enough hours just to maintain.
Wow.
To me, that person is making a living. They're not enjoying life. And that whole principle kicked in to me when I was 19 years old, and my granddad was in the hospital, and he had surgery, and he had a tumor behind his ear. It wasn't cancer. They took it out, but he got spinal meningitis in the hospital. He was in intensive care for 90 days. And we didn't know if he was going to live or not. So we were visiting him a lot. And we got to know this neurosurgeon. And he would make rounds in the morning and see my granddad. He'd go to the office and do surgery all day. He'd make rounds again at 7 o'clock at night. And then he'd go home, go to sleep, and get up and do it again. And we love the doctors that take care of us. And I'm not just picking on doctors. But that doctor went to school for 12 years, had 2 country club memberships, the nicest cars you can imagine, a huge home, and he had no life. He was in a cage. And that was the day I decided I didn't want to be a doctor, that I had to find something else to do because I didn't want to do that. But that doesn't mean there are not doctors out there that do a great job with balance in their life. But if you're doing anything where you just keep investing more and more hours to make more and more money, you have no life. And people need to make a life, not just a living.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
And it isn't, wouldn't you say, for a lot of people, it's a lot easier to get a paycheck than to design a life, right? So that fear that gets in the way. I know that we have Joey has a question, and then I know Nancy has a question. So Joey, you're unmuted.
Hey, Lauren, real quick, can you hear me?
Yeah, there's a lot. We can hear everything going on in the back, but that's okay. It's good. We got you.
I'll try to keep this short, but I was on Luke Wren's call this morning, and he mentioned his story about how you followed up with him 17 times, I think it was, and I just wanted you to shortly elaborate on that and how that all played out. I mean, he's obviously at the top now, but to hear that story was inspiring. So I'd like to hear just a little bit more about it.
Well, I think, Danielle and myself, I mean, I remember meeting Luke, and I remember Danielle talking to him, and we called him. We had heard that his, daughter had these warts on her skin. She had a heart condition, and, they got on the product. They had great results. But, I think we all had that kind of I'm too cool syndrome. I know myself, and I think that Luke did as well. And I kept following up with Luke almost to a point that I was willing to put my friendship on the line with him because I knew that he was born for this business. So maybe Curt, you can help me with this a little bit about your belief about this as well. Our job in this business is to help people see their potential and see what's really possible. And I kept seeing Luke kind of dilly-dally in the business. And one day I'm just like, you're coming, you're doing this. You need to be NMD. You need to do this. This is your calling. And I was willing, and he was mad at me. He's like, Lauren, I'm busy. I'm doing this and that. But I guess seeing that vision for him to get for himself, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why I'm at a loss for words of it. But I guess the biggest thing for me was if he kept showing up on a few calls, if I kept seeing the great results that were happening with his daughter, I just felt that it was a responsibility for me to keep following up with him. Curt, do you have any people like that you've just?
Yeah, I mean, just a quick answer. Sometimes you have to help people believe in themselves before they're ready. And so, you have to believe in them more than they do and show them, how much they have to offer, because they've failed so many times in previous things that they've lost faith in themselves. Even people in our business, they've got a goal to be a national marketing director, and they want to get there, but they're not a sales coordinator yet. And sometimes you have to get their eyes off of national marketing director and redirect their eyes to sales coordinator, maybe even redirect their eyes to a new HLP this month, celebrate that small success, build their belief in themselves back up, and then they can take the next step and the next step and the next step. But sometimes people just have lost their ability to think they can reach their dreams. And so now you need to help them have a little dream and reach that, and a little bit bigger dream and reach that. And all of a sudden they believe in themselves again.
Yeah. And so I think with, Luke, for me, it was just that, I knew that it was going to be, that he could add so much value. That's why what I love as well, and I'd love for people to step up with this, is I asked Luke to start doing that new distributor call. And he kept doing that new distributor call, and he got so much confidence in it that he didn't keep saying that he was a senior sales coordinator. He wanted, he wanted to feel that sense of know that I've got this in me to share on a bigger and a bigger scale. So I think that gave him a lot of confidence. So there's lots of you on the call that I'd love for you guys to take on certain calls. You look at Jess Fuller, who just became an NMD today. And Jess got on the phone as a sales coordinator and decided to step into a call that she consistently do over and over again. Well, I'm going to get one more question from Nancy Ross. And Nancy is rocking and rolling, really building a great team, great leader, started a French call. So Nancy, I think you have a question, then we'll let Curt go and everybody else go. Nancy.
Yeah, thank you for taking my question, Curt. Listen, I just wanted to know at the beginning, when you started, what was the one thing you did consistently every day without fail to get the momentum that you got?
I talk to new people every day. There was no doubt. Every day we talked to somebody new about this business and this product. It was not like I'd talk to 10 one day and, 4 days later talk to somebody. Even if I talked to 10, I still got up the next day and had a conversation with a new person, sharing this amazing product and this amazing business. So if someone told me very early on that you need to make 3 types of outward communication every day, it might be Facebook today, but it was only the phone back then. You need to make X number of cold calls every day. And a cold call doesn't mean like, well, I'm going to get out the phone book and, be a stockbroker and dial for dollars. No, it means cold means talking to someone that you've never talked to about Juice Plus before. You may know them. Most of the time you do know them. But it's someone that's Juice Plus. It's the first conversation. That's a cold call. You make X number of those calls a day. You make X number of warm phone calls a day. And those are people that you may have talked to before, but they haven't made a decision yet. It's a customer that needs more research. It's a prospect that needs a business question answered. So you make X number of warm follow-up type phone calls a day, and you make X number of hot phone calls a day. And a hot phone call is it's a customer you already have to strengthen their belief in the product. It's a distributor you already have to train them, edify them, motivate them, build momentum. And if you're part-time, you ought to be making 3 to 5 of those calls a day of each type. If you're full-time, you ought to make 5 to 10 of each type of those calls every day. But you can't not do any of those 3. You have to do all of them. It's not, most distributors love making hot phone calls, and they can get on the phone with somebody on their team and they get chitty-chatty, and all of a sudden an hour later they're still chitty-chatty.
Yeah,
and you got to lift them up, train them, edify them, but you've got to make enough cold calls and warm calls to fill the pipeline every day.
Yep. Awesome.
Okay.
That's a great thing. My final question for you, Curt, is for the people that are comfortable, they have a job, they're doing this part-time. Why would you say that this is a must to even consider as a plan B that could become plan A? I think that for a lot of people that being comfortable is probably one of the most dangerous places to go, with anything. But what would you say about for people who's like, it's comfortable, it's like, I'll get around to it if I have time or in my spare time. What would you say to those people?
I can't imagine having said no when someone brought this opportunity to me. When you hear about this business or this product, think of it as a kairos moment. And that's a weird word. It's an important word to me, but kairos is a Greek word for time. And chronos is like the ticking of your watch. Minutes, seconds, days go by. Kairos is that seize that moment. There's a statue in Athens, Greece, of their Greek god Kairos. And he has this hair hanging down in the front of his face. And the back of his head is bald. And all their statues mean something. And what that means is when that opportunity comes at you, you've got his hair in front of his face. You can grab that opportunity. You can seize it. But when that opportunity passes you by, you're reaching for a bald head. You've missed the opportunity.
Wow. So
I would just say, whether you're busy or not busy, whether you're comfortable or not, you don't want to miss this opportunity. You don't want it to pass you by. And don't say, I wish I had a. Just make time today, because this is an amazing company. And 5 years from now, this company is going to be here. And you could be 100 Club National Marketing Director, or you could be sitting where you're sitting right now. And it's your choice.
Awesome. Great. How do you spell Kairos?
Kairos.
Kairos. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Please thank your wife and your family for sharing you with us. And I really appreciate it. And we'll see you in Phoenix. And just really grateful to have you as a friend and for taking the time to do this for our team.
Again, sorry I messed up in the beginning.
It's all good. You never mess up. It's all perfect. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Curt. You're awesome.
Thanks.
Woo!